the field tells me that I'm holding a living being. Learning this way, hello, learning this way is learning through empirical experience, learning by experience, learning through senses. I'm using the sense of touch to know about this person. Now I can see it. So empiricism means learning which is based on the experience of your five senses. That is called empiricism, empirical knowledge. Knowledge that can be seen, that can be heard, that can be touched, that can be smelled, that can be tasted, that can be felt. That is called empiricism. Does anyone have a definition which is strikingly different from these two? Please come and write it. Please. Because it will help us to understand things, right? Just write and we'll talk about the definition. Let's see the third definition. Thank you. What's your name? Thank you. A belief accepted as. Can I help me? As Divas, can you help me find what you wrote here? As KUBBA. This is a word like this. Authoritative. Okay. Thank you. A belief accepted as authoritative by some group or school. So here, philosophy is a belief which you accept. Okay. I should not tell lies to my students. That's my belief. So, according to this definition, that's a philosophy. The philosophy of a teacher in the class. I should come in the class before students come. That's another belief I hold. That's another philosophy, right? Does anyone have a different definition in a mobile phone? Okay, come please. So do you see, it's not the teacher telling you things, you are creating knowledge in the class by participating. You are constructing knowledge. You open your mobile phone. Okay. A philosophy is a school of thought. For example, when you say school of thought, you mean, by the word school, you mean group of people from different places who have similar thinking. That is called a school of thought. For example, we have Plato. We can say Plato represents Platonic school of thought. Those people who follow Plato together. Then we have Aristotle. Aristotle was Plato's student. Plato was Aristotle's teacher. Alexander the Great was Aristotle's student. Now, Plato says, for example, truth is ideal, not material, not physical. Truth is spiritual, Plato would say. It might seem difficult for you to understand right now. For example, I say rose. Okay, I have a request to you. See if you can do it. Please smell the rose. Okay. We don't have a rose right now. But I guess in your mind's eye, you imagine the rose and you imagine the smell as well. So you have the idea of rose right now. You have the idea of rose. A week before, on Valentine's Day, you might have had a real rose. You cannot go to your crush and just bend down and say, I have the idea of rose for you. You cannot say that. You have to have a real rose. Aristotle will say, truth is material. So for Plato, the idea of rose is real, truth. For Aristotle, the rose that I can smell is truth. For Aristotle, truth is sensory, empirical. Truth is what our senses can grasp. For Plato, truth is beyond our senses. So these are schools of thought. I give you 2 examples. There are many. So yes, philosophy can be defined as a school of thought, a way of thinking. So let's once again wrap up. What is philosophy? We have fundamental nature of knowledge, reality and existence. Okay. In Unit 1, the first essay is Allegory of the Cave by Plato. That essay discusses what is reality. We have on this screen an image over there, right? You can see a text on the wall. Is that reality? Is that text real? No. How can you see that then if it is not real? If you think that text is not real, how are you seeing it? Why do you cry inside the movie theater if the things on the screen were not real to you? Why do you cry? Many of you, many of us. So the question, because what's your answer? Because? Okay, leave that. So the question, what is reality, is controversial. It's a matter of debate. It's a matter of debate, right? We don't have a final answer about what is a reality. You might be kissing someone on the screen of your mobile phone, your loved one, you see, over Skype. You make a video call. And you kiss them on the screen. And they enjoy, they feel that they are together. Is that a reality? reality is constructed by language. If we do not have language, probably we do not have reality. But the question is, many animals don't have language, or do they have? It's a debate. Do buffaloes have language? Probably they have, because they communicate. Do ants have language? Probably they have, they communicate. So reality is constructed by language. So this essay, we'll talk about this issue under philosophy. We have an essay by Albert Camus, The Myth of Sisyphus. In that essay, Albert Camus talks about the crisis of our existence. For example, this morning you came to college. When the college is over, you will go home. Tomorrow morning, you will come back. And you will keep rolling up and down between home and college for coming 4 years. Whether you like it or not. If you don't come, they'll make a call to your home. Your guardians will scold you. So, it's not a choice. It's a compulsion. Things are not under your control in your life, in your existence. Sometimes you might feel frustrated, depressed, and you might want to die. But the question is, should we die? Should we not? Should we commit suicide because we can't live anymore? Questions of this nature will be discussed in that essay about existence. Then you have, like, here is the word nature of knowledge. Nietzsche, in his essay Apollonianism and Dionysianism, he talks about forces of nature. Forces of nature. He basically sees two dualistic forces. Forces opposed to each other. One is the creative force. The other is the destructive force. And Nietzsche says that civilizations have both of these forces. Nature has both of these forces. Every human being has these forces. In Hinduism, sometimes Lord Shiva is represented as Ardhanarishwar. And in his Ardhanarishwar image of Lord Shiva, you will see in the photographs, half of the image is that of the woman, half of the image is that of the man. In the same picture, half is female, half is male. In first semester, we read some essays which discussed the nature of boys and girls. And you saw that some writers argue that boys by nature are aggressive and violent, whereas girls by nature are calm and cool. So, girls have one kind of nature, boys have another kind of nature. Some people have both natures together, mixed nature. So what is this? These are powers in human being, right? And Nietzsche will say that if you can balance these two powers, you are a healthy person. If you cannot balance, you are a sick person. Nature. nature. Then you have another essay, for example, that by Sigmund Freud, Psychology, where Sigmund Freud talks about what happens when at a very young age you are sexually offended. Sigmund Freud talks about trauma. Trauma is memory of something which, if you remember, is so difficult that you can't handle yourself. Trauma is a memory that makes it difficult for you to remain normal. Either you cry, or you shout, or you faint, you show unnatural behavior because you can't control yourself. You see something, somebody does something to you. Just imagine an individual who was raped multiple times and they recall that incident at a later age. That memory is so painful that you can't handle it. It's overwhelming. It is so gripping that when that memory comes on your surface, you cannot study, you cannot concentrate, you cannot eat, you go sick. You need to consult a doctor. Sigmund Freud talks about sexual trauma. He talks about anxiety attack. What is anxiety attack? All of a sudden, you start thinking that something wrong will happen to you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have a heart attack now. Take me to hospital quickly. And you start shivering, lose control, and you need help. It's also about human nature. Human nature, human psychology. Look what is philosophy. Look what we will study under philosophy. Right? Human nature is also kind of study of philosophy. Then you have like for example, okay, another essay is, okay, I wrapped up. There are 5 essays. Telegram of the Cave. One. The Communist Manifesto talks about human existence and class and society and conflict. In that essay, Karl Marx analyzes the development of society and says that the whole society can be categorized in 2 opposing groups. A group of those people who have everything with them, and a group of those people who have nothing with them. And Karl Marx says, those who have nothing with them, they will always fight with those who have everything with them. This is so true. Every day in the market, in the society, you will see only 3 or 4 days before
So
on television.
Everything with them means?
Yeah.
What does everything with them mean?
What was, for example, Karl Marx will say, there are people who have all the money with them, people who have all the houses with them, people who have all the capital, all the labor, all the land. Karl Marx says, some people control all the means of production. What are the means of production? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, organization. For example, shall we say that the Chaudhary group in Nepal has control over these means? A debate, right? Because Chaudharys are said to be rich people, CG group, let's say. Only yesterday in Palpa, I read on Facebook CG group is constructing a cement factory. And the local people put a padlock in their gate and the work is stopped for 3 days. The local people have demands. If Karl Marx was there, he might argue that these local people have nothing with them and Mr. Chaudhary has everything with him. And Karl Marx would say, look, these people have nothing with them in the village. They are fighting. But Mr. Chaudhary has everything with him. So Karl Marx says, some people in society gather all the property with them. They gather all the property. According to a saying, 90% of the world's resources are controlled by 10% of the people in the world. 90% of the world resources are controlled by 10% people, like Bill Gates or Ambani or Chaudhary or like that. Whereas 90% people have only 10% resources with them. So Karl Marx talks about society, conflict, life, existence, politics. So these are the kind of subjects that we'll study in philosophy. We have 10 minutes time. I'll start the essay now. The first essay. I'll show a visual, and at home, go on to YouTube and try to find videos on this topic and watch before you come to class tomorrow. Here is a small visual that I'd like to play. Plato says, he begins his dialogue. Actually, I said essay earlier. The first text is not an essay. The genre of the first text we have is a dialogue. This is a dialogue between a teacher and a student. In other words, it is a dialogue between Socrates the philosopher, the teacher, and Glaucon the student. Glaucon has a question to his teacher. The question he has is, sir, what is reality? Glaucon has a question to his teacher. Please tell me, what is reality? And Plato says, reality is not what you see. Reality is not what you hear. Reality is not what you smell. Reality is not what you taste. Reality is not what you touch. Reality is not what your five senses tell you. To make this understand, Plato uses an analogy. He uses an allegory. An allegory is a story. In allegorical story, things have a symbolic meaning. So, the things in the allegory, they stand for some other things in real world. For example, in this video I'm playing, these are the prisoners. Plato says, just imagine there is a cave. Now we have a cave in the allegory. And I said, things in the allegory represent things in the world. So what does the KV stand for? The KV stands for material world, our world. So Plato says this world is like a cave. Cave is dark, the world is dark. Now, in this allegory, we see prisoners whose hands and legs and neck has been tied. So these prisoners are tied in such a way that they cannot turn around. They can see only to the front. Now, what do these prisoners represent? These prisoners represent people of the world. Let's watch, I'll explain things. Listen carefully.
Human figures living in an underground cave with a long entrance across the whole width of the cave. Yet in their childhood have their legs and necks chained so that they cannot move and can only see before them, being prevented by the chains from turning their heads around.
He says that these people have been chained. So in the allegory we have chain. They have been chained. So this chain must represent something in the real world. What does it mean? What does the chain symbolize? Chain means ignorance, lack of education. If you are not educated, you are tied by a chain. The chain represents ignorance, lack of knowledge. Okay, again he says, there is fire at their back. Just imagine, close the door, and just imagine, this is the cave. We are the prisoners. You are the prisoners. I am not, for a while. Just say. And this projector is over there on the wall. And as you watch this video, you don't know there is a projector. You have no knowledge. You don't know about movie. Nothing. You have no idea. You see only on the wall. And as you watch this video, you think this is reality. But you should know that there is a film on the screen over there on the projector. Light is passing from the film. And this is a reflection of that film. This is a reflection. But you take it as a reality because you don't know the reality. Right? This is not real. But you will think this is real because you are ignorant. Why you think it? Because you are ignorant. Go ahead. Okay, I am stopping here. Who is presenting tomorrow? So Melissa, this is a complex text. Read the text and come with a one-page note that we make for presentation. Watch videos this afternoon on the net at home. If you watch videos, things will be clear to you. Read the text, and you will get 30-minute time. You will get 30-minute time. Tomorrow we'll begin the class with your presentation. Thank you. How do we turn it on? How do we turn it on? Turn it on, turn it the screen, turn on the screen. Okay, wait. We'll stop it together.